Leif here from Boss Outdoor with this week's fishing report. Well, what a treat it is this week. That bad weather has finally left us, the sun's come out, the seas are dropping down, and there's plenty of fish to be seen. Well, the offshore reports have come in pretty thick and fast from the people catching marlin this week. Anything on the edge of the shelf, there's been heaps of bait balls, heaps of marlin on them, multiple boats catching multiple fish, with boats coming up and they're getting 5 and 6 marlin off a bait ball. So heaps of boats backing up to these bait balls, throwing their livey in, watching them take it and hooked up, get out of the bait ball, and someone else coming in doing the exact same thing. It's such exciting marlin fishing, and it's the time of year for it. Co-host of this fishing report, Jamari Schultz, headed out with the boys on the weekend. They're fishing between Merimbula and Tathra on the edge of the shelf. The boys caught 6 marlin from 6 bites. So absolute spectacular fishing. They're catching their live bait, they're putting it on a hook, and they're just slow trolling it around the edge of the shelf. There is so many marlin out there. They're just taking these liveys, carrying on like mad, give you the fight of your life, and then they're back into it again to catch another one. Some absolute superb fishing. We've seen the yellowfin be a little bit trickier this week. I think that water's not really pushing in like it was. The zero line is headed south and is off like on the border, I suppose, of Victoria. So a long way to go if you're going to catch these fish. The pros are still getting a few, but yeah, I'd probably stick to concentrating on the marlin. The dolphin fish, on the other hand, have still been really good. If you can find any sort of debris, head out to one of the fads, you're gonna get some good dolphin fish. The snapper fishing this week has been an absolute treat. We haven't seen a snapper bite like this since last winter, I reckon. All those big seas have stirred up these fish and they are hungry. They're out on the chew and they're in close. If you can throw some plastics around the wash, anywhere from sort of, I don't know, 6 metres through to 15 metres, if you get out there early enough before the sun gets up too high, you're gonna get some really good snapper. They snapper to 60 centimetres in that shallow water. Such a great fight. They seem to fight so much better when they're in close. And then if you just want to go bottom dropping for them, there's still heaps of fish around. Get out there in 30 metres of water as the sun gets a bit higher, and there's plenty of numbers of fish. For all you flatty bashers out there, this could be your week too. There is plenty of flathead that have been really good size. Around that 40 metre mark is just the place to start. Put a trailing hook on for a gummy shark at the moment. We've seen some amazing catches of some really good sized gummies on a trailing hook. So put a bigger bait on that trailing hook behind your paternoster rig, and the gummies are going to take that bigger bait. There's been fish well and truly over a metre and lots of them. Now's the time to do it. If you want to chase a kingy this week, head to Montague Island. The numbers are always at the island. You're going to go there and catch a fish. There's plenty to be had at the moment. It's been really good. If you don't want to go that far, just like Shane did, Merimbula Wharf. Chuck a livey off Merimbula Wharf, wait for them to come past, and they are crackers. I think it was 12 or 13 kilos, an absolute great fish off the wharf. Well done, Shane.
So off the rocks at the moment has been very productive. As we get closer to Easter, the bonito fishing not so much gets more productive, but you start to see some bigger fish. So the quantities of sort of your smaller 30 centimetre fish will drop off, and you should get a few more bigger, pushing closer to that 60 mark, so some actual string pulling bonito. There's lots around at the moment. The water's still quite warm. After that big swell, they all disappeared. They're back. They're in numbers. Spin some metals off the rocks, even some stick baits. If you want to throw a popper, they're very keen in the early mornings to get up right on the surface and even breach a popper off the top. So great fun to watch, very visual style of fishing. You'll come across quite a few salmon doing that as well, so it's a productive form of fishing.
The beach fishing at the moment is super productive. There is salmon everywhere. If they're all hugging the shoreline and they're on the beach. So if you're fishing off of a beach at the moment and you're not catching fish, it's probably because all this weather, the gutters have moved, so they're not in your usual spots. You might have to head up and down the beach or just look at the beach from a higher angle and suss out where those gutters are at the moment. With all that big swell, they've definitely changed around a bit. But if you're not catching fish, just move a bit. There's so many salmon at the moment. Tell you what, if you're not catching salmon at the moment, bring in your rod to us at Boss Outdoor. We'll have a look at it, see what's gone wrong, fix it up for you, and send you out there to catch some of these salmon.
You're not wrong, Leaf. The beaches have changed a lot with this swell. After the big rain flush out that we had, there are still a few yellowfin bream in the front here of the system in the racks. Some of them have moved out to the beach. Andrew Badulovic had a great session on the beach last week. Plenty of whiting still around, just with beach worms off the front of Main Beach here in front of the airport. He got some good bream and lots of good sized whiting, so definitely worth a crack. I'm sure the gutters have changed a fair bit, so just maybe have a look at the beach from an elevated position before you go and fish it, just to get an idea of where those troughs are sitting. Yeah, go pull some worms and you should get a fair few fish on the beaches. So over the past week, with all the new gutters formed on the beaches from this big swell and the rain flush out about a week ago, the mulloway fishing's been pretty productive. There's a few around, less so than a month or so ago when we were getting multiple fish a night. They're better class fish now, but there is less of them. So get on the beaches and sink a bait, you may come up with a good sized mulloway. So the top lake has actually been producing quite a few fish recently. This past week we've had quite a few customers come in and rent a tinny, shoot up the top lake, and they've been coming back with some good fish. So some good flatties around. Adam Harris, staff member at Boss Outdoor, actually went out this morning and he got a few good trevally and some legal sized snapper. So often what happens after a big swell and a flush out with all the brown water in an estuary, you'll get a few pinkies up the back reaches of an estuary system. These are good sized fish. They're sort of mid-30s, pushing 40 centimeters. So look, they taste great. So get up there, come in and hire a tinny, shoot up the top lake, and you should get some fish. There's been quite a few around. Late season bass, they're around. There's been some good fishing over the past few days actually. As we start to get cooler, it will drop off a bit, but there are still some good late season bass getting around. So shoot up the local river or dam or wherever you go.
Well, that wraps things up for another week. I can't wait to see what the week has to come. There's going to be so many great captures over this next week, so keep sending in your videos, send in your photos. We're going to see some great captures with this amazing weather on the way. If there's anything you need to know, whether it's fishing, camping or outdoor, come into Boss Outdoor so we can hook you up.